Whoa, 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 whoa. Despite an unbelievable Herculean effort where our defense played one of the most heroic, heart-filled, most badass defensive efforts I've ever seen collectively, as well as individually from guys like Damone Clark, Cam Lewis making that play, Jaquelin Roy, Neil Farrell Jr. is definitely the defensive MVP. Just the tone he sets, the plays he made in the backfield. Jay Ward pulling up some huge hits, just absolutely blasting the shit out of Bryce Young, which they almost threw the guy out of the game for. LSU's defense came out with a fire, with absolute ass-kicking attitude, and our offense just could not help them. Our offensive ineptitude, our ridiculous play calling, some bad quarterback play, just we weren't even looking for Jack Besh. I don't understand. Just going for Besh way too late in the game when the defense knows where the ball's going. They know Besh is going to be that target. All game, we don't look his way, and when the game's on the line, when the game matters, the ball comes the freshman's way, and every time he's just unable to even be able to make a play on the ball. The ball is too high. It's feet higher than him. I mean, it's nothing on Besh. These passes are completely uncatchable. And he's still almost there. Like, he believes he can catch anything. He believes he can catch any ball. And so it's like, give this guy a damn chance. It's a simple crossing route, 4th and 9. How can we not block them right there? We absolutely would have had that play if the pass could have been completed to Jack. If the ball would have been able to just right there, soft coverage. Jack had absolute leverage there. Unbelievable route, completely beat the guy, even though the guy knew that little in crossing route was coming. And, of course, there's a free runner right at Max. Another guy who's just ready to smash our quarterback just right as he's about to unload. Always causes the hesitancy, always causes the mistiming from the quarterback's perspective. It's just the offensive line let down the quarterback in pass protection today, let down the running game as well. And Ty Davis-Price still went for over 100 yards, 104 yards on 23 carries with that crazy 37-yard 4th down conversion. He was absolute money for us, Ty Davis-Price. Despite that fumble, the fumble did give Alabama 7 points. It did give Alabama 7 points. It was a crucial, critical fumble, a rare fumble from Ty Davis-Price. But despite the fumble, he had 3 4th down conversions, 1 3rd down conversion, and he's now rushed for 100+ yards for the 3rd time this year. All against the better SEC defenses, Alabama, Kentucky, and then Florida just by reputation, but they've been horrible, woeful this year, Florida's defense. But Ty has had to earn it the hard way, and he's been fantastic. The fumble was huge, but, Ty's recovered a few fumbles this year on offense, so I guess he was due to, equalize to fumble right there. But it's heartbreaking. It's sad. It's sad to lose like that. It's sad to lose 20-14 when your offense, if they could just make a few more plays, we could have been beating the number 2 team in the nation, Alabama, our biggest rivals. Coming into this game, we predicted LSU to lose 42-27. 42-27. All of you picked LSU to lose 50. The scores are crazy. Everyone just because look at all the people LSU had. Look at all the people LSU had, and then just wiped off this roster, one by one by injury, transfer, opt out from last year as well. Through the offseason, the exile, the exodus has been biblical over the past 2 seasons from LSU's roster. The roster mismanagement has been an epic failure. And it's still, with all of this mismanagement, all of this ineptitude from an athletic administration perspective, from a football coaching staff perspective. Still, 3, 4, 5 guys deep. LSU beats top 10 ranked Florida last year, beats top 25 ranked Ole Miss last year, and now comes within 6 points of upsetting Alabama after beating a top 25 Florida a few weeks earlier as well. What does that say about LSU as a football program? Whether it doesn't matter who the coach is, these players aren't playing for this coach. They know he's gone. What does that say to you about this program, though? We are hungry, we fight, we kick ass, we take names, and we're not going to roll over for Alabama. No matter if Derek Stingley Jr. is gone, no matter if Kayshon Boutte is gone, no matter if this guy just got hurt, Eli Ricks is gone, no matter how many offensive linemen are playing like crap or aren't on the field due to injury or stupid mismanagement. Just however many times Coach O has meddled in the offense, however many times Coach O has meddled in the calling of the defense, especially the defensive line, it has not mattered. LSU still almost beat Alabama by come down to 6 points. We were at Bryce Young all night long. I don't care what the stats say. We were chomping at Bryce Young all game. I was telling people all off season long, we're coming for Bryce Young. I know he's a great quarterback. Believe me. Rashad Davis, father of Race John Davis, linebacker for USC, one-time LSU commit. He's a personal friend of mine, and Rashad said, "You got to see this quarterback. He's absolutely sick. He played on some teams with Eli and Race John." And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." And, "Oh, yeah, Bryce Young. I've heard of this guy, but I've never seen him. Show me some stuff." Man, the footage I saw Bryce Young at Mater Day was just like, this guy is going to be a freak. This guy is going to be an absolute monster. But just from a heart mentality standpoint, I just believed in an LSU defense, especially one that was going to have his son, Race John, at linebacker. Even without Race John at linebacker, having to have, Mike Jones Jr. finally is getting a start. I think this is his first start all season long, Mike Jones Jr. And Mike Jones Jr. had a huge impact early against Bryce Young. Huge impact early. We utilized his speed coming in off the edge, coming in through the interior. I loved what we were doing. Durante Jones was able to, it felt like, call his defense finally. We were able to actually blitz for once. It was fantastic. It was fantastic from our defense. What we saw from our defense was absolute heart, some cojones. It was everything we've been wanting all season long. It was weird that we never saw it until tonight. It was the strong performance against Ole Miss because our offense just kept giving the ball back to Ole Miss, and despite how long and how many times we gave the ball back to Ole Miss, we only allowed, I think it was 38 points in that game, and it was 31 until like the last few seconds. But I remember it being a strong performance against Ole Miss, but it's just the offense. If you keep giving the ball back, if the defense, if the offense just keeps wasting the ball, you're screwed. And so LSU had no chance in this game because of the offensive ineptitude. But you look at the statistics. LSU had a 100-yard rusher, and we still couldn't win this game. How is that possible? Because at halftime, our punter had more passing yards than our quarterback. Max finished, though, 16-32, 160 for 2 touchdowns, though the crucial interception. Avery Atkins had that brilliant trick play, that 1-for-1 for 26 yards to Jack Mashburn. Unreal play. Maybe we should have incorporated Mashburn a little bit more in the offense. Why not? Because some of these guys it was just there wasn't any rhythm in the passing game. A lot of the passes were off. Just horrible route combinations called. You just would see, Max would go back into his progression and see two guys who would be ending their route basically blocking each other. And so immediately Max has to turn to his right to throw the football really quick, and suddenly he's hit. And so it's like, yeah, you can blame Max for that, but it's like, look at that shitty route combination. He's thinking he's going to throw to Jack Besh, but then suddenly Dre Jenkins, who's completely covered on two areas by two guys, is like blocking the way, and he's like, oh shit, and then turns to his right, and suddenly he's hit. Like Max made some poor throws tonight. He made some bad decisions, but at the same time, Jake Peetz made some horrible decisions, put Max in poor positions all night long, did not give his quarterback a chance to succeed tonight. If Jake Peetz had given his quarterback a chance to succeed tonight, LSU would have beaten Alabama tonight. LSU would have upset Alabama tonight. 4-4 LSU coming in to Tuscaloosa, we would have upset Alabama tonight. The way our defense played, the way Ty Davis-Price was able to grind away for 23 carries for 104 yards, he was able to earn yards when there was nothing there. It was hardly ever a negative rush from Ty, 4.5 yards per carry. Our defense was able to slowly get picked apart in the passing game. I understand that. Bryce Young got going, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jameson Williams was especially huge with 160 and 10 catches, but it was death by 1,000 cuts, and it really wasn't. They just could not kill us, no matter how many times they put us in the furnace. No matter how many times they strangled us, shot us in the head. They just could not put us down. LSU. We could not die tonight. Even with the defeat, Saban is going to be up all night, just freaking out, just losing his mind. It's going to be hilarious. We got some people in here. Let's get some comments in here. My dear Natalie, what is up, Natalie Vittori? Yo. How you doing? Good to see you again. Good to see from you. My dear LSU brother, sorry, but you know what I think of Max. Max had more than one chance to make the difference, and he didn't do that simply because he is not capable to do that. Yeah. There were openings where he had a chance to affect the game, but you look at what was surrounding him, it was all kind of chaotic and exploding. Not too many places to go with the football. I'm aware of Max's shortcomings, but at the same time, I feel like this is basically like his freshman year. He really didn't have a freshman season to kind of get his feet wet. He was kind of just thrown into the fire, into this hellish situation. So this kind of felt more like his first go round. And considering, I think Max has done pretty well. But the last few games have how can we say this, exposed some regressions in his development under Jake Peetz, big time. Just the play calling hasn't been suited for his success. And there's times where this offensive line, frankly, are just not going to allow any success to take place anyway, because everything's just exploding left and right like it's the opening of Saving Private Ryan out there. Bodies left and right dropping. His number one receiver is down. Another receiver just transfers. Coy Moore was supposed to be a huge part of this offense. All offseason, Max he worked a ton with Coy Moore, had a very tight relationship with Coy Moore. And Coy Moore, due to injuries and other things, was just never available and never there to kind of let that relationship, that chemistry, take flight on the field. So it was a lot of wasted reps. And there was a lot of freshman receivers who frankly just weren't there until the last part of that offseason. And it felt like the leadership at LSU were pushing the veteran receivers over these freshman guys. And so I think Max's chemistry with the freshman guys, except for Besh, may have been a little off. Besh's chemistry is a lot higher than some of the other guys. Deion Smith, it's a lot higher than the other guys because Deion's been there for a lot longer. But a lot of the other guys, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., the chemistry just isn't there because those guys came in late. Max hasn't been working with them enough, and it just seems like the play calling is not really helping out these guys. It just seems like the whole way that this offense is run from the practice to the football field on Saturday nights, it's just all an absolute mess where nobody's helping anybody out. So no one's really going to succeed. Even if they put up great individual numbers, it's still not going to feel too good for these players. I've texted guys who finished games with records, broken records, things like that, and Zoomed with guys saying, "Hey, what's going on? Hey, you did fantastic tonight," and then it doesn't mean anything to me. And it was like, what? Oh, well, yeah, that's true because you guys lost. Yep, I get it. And they were serious. They're dead serious. They don't give a damn about that stuff because tonight LSU should have beaten Alabama. Tonight, the 4-4 LSU Tigers should have beaten Alabama. And we had no chance, no reason to be in this game coming in. So the fact that Max Johnson actually got us within, a chance of a Hail Mary, which the offensive line completely screwed up with that face mask hold type thing, you got to hand it to him. He at least got us kind of back in that game. Natalie Vittori, he cannot convert when is most needed. Question, why they did not gave a chance to Nuss. Why? Because he's a true freshman, and you usually don't just throw true freshmen into games against Alabama. And especially when you have a starting quarterback already, it's kind of like if you're going to go with Nussmeier right then, you can't go back to Max. You can't go back to Max because you've basically shaken his confidence, basically destroyed his confidence. So for me, it was the right decision to continue with Max. I don't think Max was the reason we lost this game. I think he's desensitized to such a horrible offensive line that whenever he goes back, he thinks even if he has time that he doesn't. And usually he's right, but sometimes he's thinking it's coming from the left, and usually it's coming from the right. He has not been adequately prepared by coaches behind the scenes. If you feel that these offensive coaches are inept on the football field, coaching on the sidelines on Saturdays, then surely they're also inept in preparing these players Monday through Friday as well. So I feel like you cannot blame Max Johnson really and put this season on Max Johnson, any of his shortcomings, even though it has exposed a litany of those. If you blitz him to his right, you've basically killed the play. Him going like cocking back like that and being able to throw the ball, he hasn't developed that yet. We have to figure out that and maybe just keep Jack Mashburn over the right. And also, why the hell are we not putting both Jacks on the field? We don't have Kayshon Boutte anymore out wide. In the red zone especially, put Jack Bech on the damn field. And if you want Jack Mashburn also on the field, then put Jack Mashburn on the field too. It's great to have him out there. I love Jack Mashburn. Have him out there, but I don't care if you want Jeray Jenkins. I don't care if you want John Trey Kirkland out there. No, not over Jack Bech. Not over Jack Bech. Jack Bech needs to be out there, especially in those red zone plays. The first red zone opportunity we had to win this game was the most critical part of this game. And we absolutely screwed the pooch here. Jake Peets did, because Jack Bech wasn't even on the field. Jack Bech wasn't even on the field, even after the timeout. Even after we called another stupid timeout, Jack Bech wasn't even on the field. So considering the route runners that he's working with, I know there was some open routes and stuff like that, but you got to remember, a lot of these guys have dropped some open, big-time plays too this year from Max. Great passes for Max that these guys have just literally dropped. I mean, it's even Kayshon Boutte has dropped 3 touchdowns himself this season. You can blame Max. I'm sure there is some blame worthy to go his way, but this is a team loss. And it's more than a team loss. It's a staff loss. It's an athletic department loss. It's a roster mismanagement loss. Because if we had even had 2 or 3 of those guys who are out tonight, LSU wins this game. We just needed one more big play, Natalie. We just needed one more big play, and we're beating the number 2 team in the nation. So you can blame Max all you want, and he didn't look great tonight. But we had a chance to win the game. I am so proud of our team. I have nothing negative to feel, really. And I'm looking for it. I'm looking for everything. I want to criticize. I want to analyze. Let's do it. But how can you not feel just happy about the effort from what you saw from these LSU Tigers? Adrian Perkins, my man, AD, he joins us. He says, this is the defense I was expecting all season. AD, I'm right there with you. This is the defense me and you were talking about, lusting over, brother. This is the defense me and you were going like, this is going to be so much fun because this guy's going to understand blitzes, which it seemed like Pelini was promising and his past and his history had suggested. And we never saw any blitzes whatsoever from Pelini. Just a horrible, just stoic, static defense that was so easy to just pick apart with just a little bit of a pre-snap, post, or even post-snap movement. And it didn't matter. We couldn't stop it. Underneath, over the top, over the middle, up your butt, over the top. It didn't matter. LSU could not stop it. And in 2020 and most of 2021. And then you come to this game against Alabama. And Durante Jones is blitzing like a madman. And it's like, it's great. But it pisses you off too, doesn't it? Because it's like, where the hell was this all season? Who is responsible? I want answers now. Who was responsible for this not being there? Surely Durante Jones, an NFL defensive mind, is sitting there going, my God, why is he forcing me to call this defense? Oh, God. Someone's taking the bullets for somebody so that isn't revealed. And I want to know who. I want to know why. Why are they not allowing this team to play that type of defense? We're playing with 3rd and 4th stringers, guys and gals, all across this defense. And they put on that sort of show against one of the top offenses in the nation. We canceled Bryce Young's offense and Bill O'Brien's offense. We canceled that offense with that defensive performance. That was one of the most pride-filled, heart-filled, most badass, kick-ass, last man standing defensive performances I've seen in the last few years from LSU defense. I was loving every minute of that performance. I was just because of what it meant recruiting wise, what we were against. And I saw a few flickers of life from Coach Ed Orgeron's coaching, just a little bit, where he was walking across the line of players and saying, these guys aren't ready to play tonight. These guys aren't want to play tonight. I was like, okay, at least if you're going to go out with that type of pride, that type of show and that type of fight, at least against Saban, at least against Jimbo, at least against Arkansas, and LSU, you just have to literally just take your hat and tip it and say, this team was fucking brilliant tonight. This team had no right to be in this game. No right. And we were this close. I mean, we had no fucking right to be in this game. But I'm watching it now. That first play in the game, I'm watching it right over again. That first play in that game, Bryce Young rolls out, and it looks like everything's perfect. He's got an open guy moving in concert with him to his right. In the shotgun, there's movement pre-snap. LSU does not bite on it, and Mike Jones Jr. is right in his face, jumping up. And this 81 Latu, I think it is, can't even catch it. Goes right off his hands. And there's guys right all over the place. active hands. Darren Evans is jumping up and around, even though he has nothing to do with the play. And it just made me feel very good about the start. Just active, active, active. And you see Sony Fanua is out there at defensive end starting in place of Ali Gay, and he was fantastic, I thought. Sony Fanua tipped a pass early in the game. BJ Ojolari, you didn't hear his name much, but he had a chance at that fumble recovery. Let's look at BJ Ojolari's stats. Let's go through that. Once again, Damone Clark leads the team in tackles. 8 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, a pass breakup. Once again, Damone Clark leads the team in tackles. This is how every game this season, Damone Clark has led the team in tackles. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just freakish. Dwight McLaughlin, who got banged up making an just unbridled, filthy solo tackle on the edge to deny, I think it was Mechie or someone like that. Who cares what Alabama guy it was? But he makes this sick on an island tackle after the catch, brings the guy down, prevents a conversion there, and forces a punt. McLaughlin, had his ups and downs. Okay, I'm going to go through my next level stats that I got down here because McLaughlin went through his ups and downs. He had 6 targets gone his way. He had the 1 pass breakup, which was he basically dropped an interception. He busted in on that route, had a great chance at it. But even there, I'm watching McLaughlin shoving guys out basically with his pursuit there. Fantastic. He forced 1 red zone incompletion, but he allowed 3 catches, 1 touchdown as well, and there were a few drops from his receivers that were beating him. So there was times where McLaughlin went through some ups, some downs, but McLaughlin overall made the plays to kind of stand out for LSU, even though he was picked on at times. Not gonna sugarcoat that. Neil Farrell Jr. though, unbelievable. Once again, second in the team in tackles. Neil Farrell Jr. 7 tackles. I think that's the 3rd game he's had something like 7+ tackles. Wow. 1 sack. You all saw that brilliant sack. 2.5 tackles for loss. Neil Farrell Jr. We've been writing about Neil Farrell Jr. all season, a lot before the season as well. This guy could really stand up and be a great player for LSU. I felt like Jaquelin Roy might be that guy even more. He had a fumble recovery tonight and looked really good himself. Jaquelin Roy, a few pressures as well. I think we had 3 pressures for him and a few quarterback hits. But it just, this defense as a collective unit, we're all over the place. Damone Clark has a sack. Neil Farrell Jr. had a sack. Cam Lewis with the sack strip fumble. Mike Jones Jr. with a sack. The sack strip fumble by Cam Lewis was one of the biggest plays in the game. Unbelievable play. Unbelievable play. Just comes up and just rips it out of Bryce Young. Unbelievable. LSU had their chances, and offensively, we could not take advantage of it. It was so sad to see. Let's see some more of these comments, though. This Adrian Pritchard says, this LSU team that played tonight can win the last 3 games. 100%. 100%. I agree, man. We can beat Texas A&M for sure. We can beat Arkansas. But it would be nice to have some extra guys because that's the thing is this I can't believe this defense hasn't worn out. I thought this would be a game where LSU's defense would kind of wear out after all the rough and tumble fighting and brilliance they had over the last few outings before this bye week. They just got so beat up. And they kind of had their backs against the wall all game because of the offensive ineptitude. And they came out in this game for 4 quarters and kicked Alabama's ass. Would not let Alabama, you shall not pass. Just sick. Just sick. This is what I had hoped to see. You know, watching this, Ty Davis Price just running hard all night when there's nothing there. Nothing. 3 key 4th down conversions and a 3rd down rushing conversion. 104 yards. Conversely, I think we only allowed, what was it, like 18 yards to Alabama most of the game? They finished with 6 total rushing yards. Alabama finished with 6 total rushing yards from our defense. Don Cannon joins us, but we've seen the post-Bama letdown in good years. Do we see the same heart the rest of the year? All I know is this showed me a lot about some players, and that's the best we could have hoped for in this situation with the epic, catastrophic injuries. Don Cannon says, Damone for the Butkus. 100%, dude. 100%. He has to win this shit. How can he not? What he's done against all these teams. Don Cannon says, love Nudie. And Ward laying the wood. That hit was awesome. If he had been taken out of this game for targeting Don, that would have been an absolute crime, a despicable disgrace. I could have seen. I was feeling like, oh no, Jay Ward's going to get taken out of this game for nothing. It's going to be bullshit. Somehow he wasn't. Thank God. It was a clean, awesome hit. See, even one of the last post-game shows I did, it said Neil Farrell 7 tackles, 4 solo. He had 7 tackles, I think 3 or 2 solo tonight. Like he racks them up. That just needs to be shown. LSU defense allows 6 rushing yards versus Alabama. It's time for some Tiger pride. Okay? This LSU Tiger, this team has its faults. It has its limitations. Because we're 3 and 4 man deep on everything. Our coach has a rotten culture. Our coach shouldn't be there. But if you put the right head coach in this situation, you bring in the right staff, you're going to boost and buoy this team. They're not going to be 3 and 4 deep all across the board. But now some of these guys that we found 3 and 4 deep might actually be the right guys. Maybe we should actually start playing them like Jack Besh. Instead of taking him out on the red zone plays. My God. Brian Thomas Jr. scores his first ever LSU Tigers touchdown, as we predicted on our pregame show the other night, which you definitely got to check out when we do those because they get kind of crazy. But we predicted LSU would lose 42-27. And we were hoping for some type of fight, and this was way better. I mean, we almost won this damn game. I thought 42-27 was the best we could hope for, and I was being an absolute homer for putting that line. But I just sense a type of belief within the players that they could fight in this thing, and just they're the staff would finally have to play certain guys just because they were simply forced to. That's really what I felt like. Certain guys are going to get a chance now because they're just forced to. I expected maybe Sony Fanua could play over Philip Webb and guys like Savion Jones, just because I knew that they were using Sony more and trusted him more. But I was hoping Philip Webb and Savion Jones would get a chance. I don't think either of those guys even played. It doesn't matter. Sony Fanua was great. Tipped a pass. Had 2 tackles, 1 pass breakup. I swear he had a few pressures as well. He looked fantastic. Darren Evans wasn't even taken advantage of for a huge pass either. Pig Cage, he was targeted a few times. He only allowed 1 catch. It was a 21-yard catch, though, but Pig Cage was great. Kool-Aid actually was playing for Alabama. He got in for a tackle there, I think on special teams probably, but wow, that's hilarious. I just cannot believe LSU got so close in this game. Playing that so bad not defensively. Playing that so bad on offense. Once again, our leading receiver had 54 yards, Jeray Jenkins. This offensive ineptitude keeps making Jeray Jenkins look good. He keeps being the leading receiver with 50-something yards while we're only throwing to Besh. It says he has 9 targets. Don't be confused by that. He had 3 targets before it actually mattered. And then he had 9 targets at the end of the game where all these passes were over the dude's head. There is a huge anti-Max contingent out there. I get that. There's so much more you can blame than Max. I know it's easy to blame the quarterback. That's what you're seeing. When you watch the film, look a bit deeper, and you'll see just kind of this narrative of just bullshit surrounding. Watching that brilliant jump pass by Avery Atkins again is so much fun. That was so much fun. I mean, where was that a few games ago? We already had 2 losses. Where the hell was that? Get a spark going. Avery Atkins. Nurse Court loved that. Nurse Court loved that. Right out of a TV timeout. Love it. Plum Tiger 1 says, I'm so proud of my Tigers. Fought hard. Yes, we did, baby. Yes, we did. And it started with this type of a chance. When you take this type of a chance, when you have 4th and 4, Avery Atkins throws that lob pass to Mashburn. Oh my God. It was the longest LSU play, clear until I think the end of the 3rd quarter. It was at halftime. Avery Atkins had 1 pass, 1 attempt, 1 completion, 26 yards to Jack Mashburn. At halftime, Max Johnson, it was 3 for 7 for 22 yards. That is sacked 3 times. I think it was 4.5 tackles for loss from Alabama. There was pressure coming at Max, but there was a few times he adjusted just wide open routes, like I just watched right there, with a move inside. Things were just coming slow for him. Our offensive line just has to be retooled. The offensive line just not allowing anybody to have free shots at the quarterback. It changes everything. You give a guy some time. Your receivers are catching passes in rhythm. The right guys are actually out there, guys who actually have chemistry with. All of this combines into Max being a more successful quarterback with maybe a few deficiencies here and there. But now you see every deficiency for every quarterback who could be in this position. It's going to show it because he has 0 help across the board. It's shocking how bad our offensive line has been all season. See, never a negative run from Ty all game. Never a negative run. Don Camp says Max made some bad throws, missed a couple of open receivers, but let's be fair, most of the times we weren't separating, and other times he's running for his life. He's not as bad as he might have looked. That's what I'm saying. I really feel like there's a LSU contingent of fans who are being extremely hard on Max in a game where, yeah, LSU should have won this game, and that sucks. That sucks because LSU could, but LSU had no right to be in this game. And Max Johnson did turn it over, but he also threw 2 touchdowns. LSU scored 14 total points. You know, we shut out Alabama until like 3 minutes left in the half. Okay, on our defense, we're playing their freaking minds out. It just, I wish our offense could have taken advantage of it, but I feel like you put Garrett Nussmeier in this game like people were wanting, and I think you have a style of play that's going to be giving Alabama the ball a lot more often. We'll see. You know, yeah, I think it would have been interesting if you put Garrett Nussmeier in there and to just see what would have happened with the score at 14-20. But you do that, you're not going to be having Max for the rest of the season. Do you want to make this end of 2021 part of Nussmeier's development? Seems like they already have, but I don't feel like Max has been an egregiously poor quarterback. I think we've been an egregiously poor offense. And so when you're an egregiously poor offense from play caller down to the center who's stepping on Max's feet as he's about to throw the ball, it's going to be poor, especially against the best teams. He still threw 2 touchdowns, 160 yards, completed half of his passes, and he had LSU within a Hail Mary, which was accurate. He made it to the end zone. He gave his guys a chance. There was no one there, and his offensive lineman face masked a guy because he couldn't block him. So, you know, I get it. Max made some poor decisions. He's not Tom Brady. He's not, Walker Howard. He's not, walking on water every pass he makes. But neither would those quarterbacks in Max's shoes, in Max's situation, behind this offensive line, with this lack of rushing support, and except for Ty Davis-Price running for, just trying to find any yard he can get, and he busts them loose. This is his 3rd game over 100 yards. Ty Davis-Price has he's turning into having a fantastic season here, the season we have been hoping for, a doubter shutting up season where he's racking up the yards, getting these 100-yard games against these feature teams. He now has 627 yards from 627 rushing yards, 120 carries, 5.2 per rush, 6 rushing touchdowns. Today broke his touchdown streak. He had 6 touchdowns in his last 4 games. Today shuts down that streak. He had 6 touchdowns in his last 3 games before this game. He had 2 against Kentucky, 3 against Florida, 1 against Ole Miss. Today he could not get into the end zone, but he actually had over 100 yards. Had that big 37-yard rush, 3 fourth down conversions, 1 on 3rd as well. That's 4 critical down, 3rd or 4th down conversions. Ty kept the drives alive. He gave LSU a chance to put points on the board. I understand that he fumbled the ball. That was a big play. But this is a guy who hardly ever fumbles the ball. This is his second fumble all year. Let's see how many fumbles he had last year.
Expecting someone else?
Shut up. Stupid ESPN. Let's mute that site. Sorry, guys. Hope that didn't hurt anybody's ears. Sorry about that. He fumbled but did not lose the fumble against South Carolina last year, so won all season last year. So he had 0 fumbles in 2019, and he got the ball 60 times rushing and 10 times receiving. So he had 70 touches, 0 fumbles in 2019. Okay, 70 touches. Then he had 104 touches in 2020, and he fumbled it once. This year he had 120, and he's fumbled it twice. So, Ty does not fumble the ball. He fumbles it very rarely. It was a key fumble. You can't get away from it. But at the same time, was it the reason we lost this game? I don't know. I feel like the offensive ineptitude in the receiving game was the reason we lost this game. But at the same time, the turnovers, they killed us. The interception from Max, the fumble from Ty, they did hurt. They did hurt the team. They did give Alabama those points, basically. If you take away those plays, LSU probably win this game. But at the same time, if you take away their performances, LSU really aren't close in this game either. So I'm proud of my Tigers. Every one of them fought. They battled. You can point and say that's what they did wrong. You can criticize all you want, and that's fine. But with who who is supposed to be on the field and who is actually out there, it is a Herculean, biblical, brilliant effort from this LSU football team to be even in this game against number 2 Alabama. And not only that, we should have beaten Alabama. Alabama should have lost this game, and Nick Saban knows it. Don Cannon says, this game does not help Nuss develop, right? Not to play him. Exactly. Is it going to help him to throw a pick 6? Like, even if he throws a touchdown, is it going to help him to throw a pick 6? Like, Coach Ed Orgeron threw Miles Brennan as a freshman into that Troy game. And I liked it because I wanted to see Miles Brennan take over for the rest of that season. The problem is that Miles throws a touchdown. It looks like LSU are kind of coming back in that game. And then he throws a pick 6 while on the same play getting absolutely blown the hell up. Miles had a horrible concussion on that play, out for the game. Etling comes back in, threw the pick 6. Shit happens, but he was not even in a place or a moment in his career where he could even accept it and deal with it and move on. Brennan was in a place where he had to take that pick 6 and that concussion and sit with it for almost 2 more years. Playing some cameo performances in between there, but never getting the reins, the keys to the car. You do that to a quarterback like Nussmeier in that position. It's reckless. It's just reckless. If he wins us the game, great. But I don't think that would have happened. I really don't. Maybe Nussmeier would have given us a better chance because we would have scored another touchdown. Who knows? I see Nussmeier making some plays and then giving the ball away as well. I think it would have hurt his development. But at the same time, Nussmeier never backed down from any challenge, and perhaps Nussmeier could have come in there, rose to the challenge, and played his ass off, because that's what LSU Tigers do. So, at the same time, I want to say that, like, it would have been reckless. It shouldn't have been done. Trust in Max. Maybe Nussmeier comes in and maybe he comes in and fucking beats Alabama. Maybe that happens. We'll never know. And I think it was the right thing to do for Nussmeier's development. Adrian Perkins says, if Max hits Trey on time in the end zone, it's 21-20. Exactly. Max missed that throw. But at the same time, the ball hits off of Trey's fingers. I feel like Trey Palmer drops that ball. I know it's a high pass. It's higher than it should have been. Far higher than it should have been. But Trey Palmer's there. Trey Palmer's hands are late to get up that high. He's not expecting the trajectory to keep rising. And the ball skirts off of his fingers. I feel like as a former receiver, former DB, you have to catch that football. It's on your hands. You have to catch it. It's a high throw from Max. He's dealing with some shit that Trey Palmer's not even seeing. He throws it. The pass should have been more accurate. Bottom line, though, Trey Palmer has to catch that ball, and a better receiver would have. You put Jack Besh in that position, that's a catch from Jack Besh. But, when the passes were for Jack Besh, they were far higher than that pass for Trey Palmer. They were uncatchable for Jack Besh in those other situations. For Trey Palmer, he's shorter. And he just doesn't have as good of hands, natural catching hands, as some of these other receivers. Then again, Trey Palmer made some good plays as well too. Just that pass, it's a mix. It's on the quarterback and the receiver. Pass is too high. Receiver should have still caught it, and we lose the game because of it. I don't know. The play call worked, but I don't like the personnel there. I think if you put Jack Besh in that situation, touchdown. Maybe even maybe even put Dre Jenkins out there. If you put Dre Jenkins in that situation, maybe it's a touchdown as well. Besh, Jenkins, one of the two, okay. Brian Thomas Jr. in that situation, I think it's a touchdown as well. Malik Neighbors, yeah, it's probably a touchdown as well. But Trey Palmer, in those situations, he has never proven to be able to catch those passes. I mean, he always seemed to catch the passes you didn't expect him to catch. The gimme ones, he seems to drop. And that was not a gimme one, but he's got to get up higher for that pass. Maybe I need to watch it again. But from my eyes, first angle, rewinding it a little bit, he did not get up high enough for that pass. He should have had his hands a little bit higher. The pass was too high as well. I mean, Max was throwing him way too high all night. Max was inaccurate as hell. Kevin Howell says, hell yes, Saban knows he was lucky to get out of that game without a loss. He was. With all of these elements we're criticizing, all of this stuff we're picking at, Max was still almost good enough to beat this number 2 Alabama team. It's not saying Max is the quarterback for LSU's future. It's not saying he must start in 2022. It's saying that Max is being wrongly criticized, saying that Max is a badass team player who he is a strong leader. He's shown he can stand in there and take horrible hits and make fantastic passes. He's taken an ass whooping for his team. He's shown he can rack up the touchdown passes, rack up the yards at times as well. It's just been the shittier the offensive line has been, the more Ty Davis Price has run the football. You're taking attempts off the board for those stats to be up there, and you're also seeing Max regress as well behind a poor offensive line, and just he's desensitized to getting hits left and right. So he's rushing things. He's rushing his progressions, which means you're rushing your throws. And so you're going to be off. Your timing is always going to be off. It's going to be 1 or 2 seconds too quick, 1 or 2 seconds too slow. You saw it with some passes today. There's a lot of times I was sticking up for my man Max because I felt like he was getting dumped on too much. And at the same time, a lot of the criticism was correct. But I think people need to look a little bit deeper. David Parker says, you win or lose in the trenches. Yeah, man, but at the same time, LSU, we basically won in the trenches tonight, man. We lost the game while winning in the trenches. So, like, I mean, you win or lose in the trenches, yes. LSU won in the trenches tonight. We allowed 6 fucking rushing yards. LSU allowed 6 rushing yards tonight. 6 rushing yards. I mean, like, we won in the trenches. Offensively, we ran for over 100 yards as well. We had a 100-yard rusher. They only rushed for 6 yards. We had sacks. We forced fumbles. It's just, like I'm watching it right now, we're dominating, eating them in the backfield. Mike Jones Jr., Damone Clark, they're all over them. The problem is we didn't have an that offensive unit that could absolutely make Bama pay in the passing game. We couldn't provide that kill shot in the red zone. We did early on. That was a great route concept. Have Brian Thomas Jr. in the backfield, right next to Max in the shotgun. Have him go out for that little out route. It's so easy. It's so easy with this talent to call those plays. I could draw this shit up better than what Jake Peetz has done this year. Like, I'm serious. I'm not kidding around. That's not about my ego. That's about recognizing ineptitude. I think maybe Jake Peetz has been meddled with by Coach O. Maybe Coach O's telling Peetz he can't run what he's trying to run. Maybe this isn't on Peetz. I don't know. I don't think LSU fans really know. So this pitchfork, let's kill Peetz, blame Peetz. I don't know if we can really do that just yet until we see how Peetz ran this operation. You know, we need to find out how Peetz has been running this offense, and if it's really on him, or if it's some other person meddling with it. But it's it's been interesting. It was a hell of a game. Kevin Howell says Trey would have been a legend if he would have caught exactly. And that's why I wanted that moment to come for Jack Besh. Because I feel like Jack Besh hauls that in. And it just really gets me down that, like, whenever Jack was going to be the target and was going to be given an opportunity to win us the game, the pass was off. Pass was way off. No opportunity for Jack to even try. And then the opportunity before that, when LSU could have really won won this game, the first chance in the red zone. It's crazy that we even got the ball back with only one timeout left. It's crazy. LSU don't even have Jack Besh on the field, even after the timeout. I thought after the timeout, it would be like, yeah, and put Jack on the field, damn it. Jeez. But no, Jack wasn't on the field. That's why LSU lost this game. We don't understand our personnel. We don't understand how to put them in in better positions to succeed, to win us games. We don't understand when to get them the football. See, I just watched a play where Max gets throttled by a late disguised blitz that nobody picks up, and he doesn't even see it coming at all. Like he's not just staring down a receiver here either, and he makes a great throw. Jontre Kirkland just sticks out a hand, lets it bounce off his hand while Max gets throttled in the ribs to force a third down. Or sorry, that was on third down. That was when LSU was leading 7-0 with 30 seconds left in the fourth. We could have gone up 14-0 had we scored on this drive, or even at least 10-0. But no. Even though Max gets absolutely rocked, he puts the pass right on Jontre Kirkland, and he just goes, lets it bounce off his hand. Don't let it confuse you that it looks like he just, like that Max puts it out of reach and it goes off his hand. Jontre Kirkland has all the time in the world to readjust and catch that pass, and he just lazily sticks out a hand. That's why Jontre Kirkland does not play for LSU on a down-to-down basis, because Mickey Joseph sees him and goes, no, you're not playing. Tonight, I have no clue why he's out there. LSU, I guess, are so depleted at receiver that they have to have him out there. I don't think so. When you have plays where Jack Besh isn't out there, but instead he is. And that play right there is so fun. You know, Bryce Young has a guy wide open going down the field, throws a bomb right down the middle of the field, but no. Jay Ward is there contesting at safety and smashes the shit out of this dude right as the ball touches the guy's fingers. Watch this play. Boom! I just love it. I just love it from Jay Ward. And then at the same time, I think it's Mike Jones Jr. comes in on a blitz and absolute pound cakes Bryce Young. This is a great down right here. Oh, I think it's actually Damone Clark. Yep. Or wait, no, it's Micah Baskerville, baby, who was supposed to be out for this game. I heard from Matthew Moscana. So guess Moscana was wrong on that one. Yep, Baskerville in this delayed blitz comes in there. Baskerville was leading the team in tackles for a lot of the game, but boom, takes a smash, and then I just love that. The dude's too afraid because he knows the hit's coming, and it is. Jay Ward smashes the shit out of him. Jay Ward was racking up the hits tonight. Awesome hittage from Jay Ward. Great coverage there from Darren Evans, not allowing himself to get beaten over the top. Right there, I mean, that's open. Bryce Young hits that like it's nothing, and he's not going to let it. Brilliant coverage from Darren Evans. You know, these guys stepped up across the board. These guys stepped up one by one. I loved watching this game because LSU's defense made us proud. Our MVPs. Let me think of this. Let me write this real quick. Tell us who your MVPs are in the comments, but I'm going to be writing mine down right now. I'm going to pick an offensive one if I can find one. And defensive, I know who my guy is. I mean, Neil Farrell Jr. Unbelievable. 7 tackles, 2 solo, 2.5 tackles for loss, 3 pressures, 2 quarterback hits. He was everywhere. I don't even think 3 pressures was. I feel like he even had more than that, but I wanted to be a little more conservative and make it as accurate as possible for the official stats. He had at least 3 official pressures, if not 4 or 5. He was everywhere all over Bryce Young's face. And Neal is a 6-year senior, has played a lot of football this year as well. And he's only getting better. Every down, he's getting better and better and better. He is absolutely his draft stock is skyrocketing, because I'm going to tell you something right now. If the other 31 teams don't pick Neal in the first round, I think if there's a need there for Bill Belichick, he's probably going to need a quarterback maybe, or somebody else like that, receiver more likely. But if he wants to go the route of getting another Vince Wilfork in there, another big dominating DT, he could develop Neil Farrell Jr. like no one's business in New England with the Patriots. And Neil could make a lot of money and win a lot of Super Bowls doing some awesome shit up there in New England. There's a lot of teams where Neil could be successful in the NFL. So proud of Neil. He has to be an All-American, in my opinion, what he's put up. It's not just about the statistics. It's about the overall just brilliant display. I've also got to edit this too, because my God, he did not just have that. He had a sack as well. We got to give our man his sack. I mean, these DTs hardly ever get sacks, so we've got to put that in there. There we go. He had a sack to go with it, and he was all over the place. All over the place, my man, Neil Farrell Jr. Let's see what Neil Farrell Jr.'s stats are on the season. Because I'm telling you, he has racked up at least 7+ tackles, I think, in every game for the last 5 games or something like that. He has been a freak. It's just been the last 2 against Ole Miss and Florida. I think the bye week made it feel like more. But he's had at least 3 or 4 tackles the last 5 games. This was his first sack on the season. 1 pass deflection as well. Once again, you're never going to get his real impact with these types of statistics. He has 8.5 tackles for loss on the season. 8.5 tackles for loss. And I feel like that isn't even quantifying all of his tackles for loss, because we found some that they didn't even count, where he's getting guys at least a foot, at least a yard behind the line of scrimmage, and they're just not calling it. Because, boy, you don't want big bad Neil to have 4.5 tackles for loss walking off the field with that type of a stat. I mean, Neil Farrell Jr. has been absolutely a monster for defenses to deal with. He's been an absolute monster. 2019 national champion who led the defensive line in sacks that year with 3. It was brilliant. Caleb Von Chason led the team, but Caleb Von Chason was kind of a linebacker defensive end hybrid. As far as just legit defensive lineman, Farrell Jr. led that 2019 national championship team in sacks. Picks up another one tonight. He's definitely our defensive MVP, even though Damone Clark had another 8-sack game. Eight tackle game. He had 1 sack. He had 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass breakup. Dwight McLaughlin forced a fumble, as well as Cameron Lewis. So, both those guys could have been up here. McLaughlin but I feel like McLaughlin allowing the touchdown, allowing some pretty big catches. Micah Baskerville was picked on at times, even though he played well. Jay Ward was fantastic, faultless. 6 tackles, 5 solo, 1 pass breakup. And I don't believe he allowed a single catch while being targeted. Let's see how many times, because I have those targets down here. Jay Ward was targeted 3 times, once in the red zone, which would have been a touchdown. 0 catches allowed from Jay Ward. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Cam Lewis, with that 1 target, he had 1 target his way. He did allow a touchdown. He got burnt for that on a big play. So it was only right that he would create that strip sack and kind of atone for that play. Fantastic from the super senior to atone with, I think, his first ever LSU turnover. I think that's Cameron Lewis's first ever LSU turnover. And a huge play that the defense was not able to punch in. Malik Neighbors had 2 tackles tonight. We were able to see Glenn Logan for a bit. Pig Cage started the game at nickel. It's just sad how LSU could not win this game, given every opportunity. Adrian Perkins says the whole defensive line is the MVP. I mean, hell yeah. I mean, BJ Ojulari was fantastic still. He barely – I don't even think he's on the stat line. I don't even see him on the stat line anywhere. But you could still see his presence out there. Yeah, BJ Ojulari was not even credited with the tackle. That can't be right. Let's check out ESPN's site. That's crazy. Yep, it makes headline news on ESPN though. LSU almost knock off number 2 Alabama. That's so awesome. ESPN doesn't have their defensive statistics up yet. They always take I think till the next day it seems. Jack Besh with his second ever LSU touchdown after that one-hander against McNeese I think it's Central Michigan. Brian Thomas Jr. catches his first ever LSU touchdown as we predicted. Jack Mashburn makes a huge catch, his second as a Tiger. Huge play from Avery Atkins, the punter / place kicker. Trey Palmer, big drop. Pass was right there. Could have been the touchdown, could have been the hero. But the pass could have been a lot more accurate. So he made it tough for Trey, just like Pete's made it tough for Max all game. Dre Jenkins leads the receiving corps with another 50-yard, 4-catch game. Ty Davis-Price busts it for 104, 23 carries. Fantastic from Ty. Rushes for 100 yards over Alabama. Unbelievable. Had a huge 4th down where he went for 37 yards. Put LSU in the red zone. Just heroic performances from LSU tonight. Yeah, there was also a big hold on Neil Farrell Jr. too. That's the thing that's pissing me off when I watch this LSU defensive line is there's so much we can fault this defensive line with, sure, but there's so many freaking plays where these guys are being held and tackled to the ground. I'm not just talking being outside here. You're not keeping it in here. It's outside here and you're throwing guys to the ground. They're literally tackling guys. And they're putting our defensive linemen in positions where they're going to get hurt, where they're blitzing around the edge and they're getting ripped to the ground like that. I don't even think I counted a single pressure from BJ Ojulari tonight. You know what? They're wrong because they're saying Ojulari didn't have a tackle. I saw Ojulari tackle JoJo Earl on a kick return, on a punt return. So that's wrong. Ojulari at least had 1 tackle. So I don't know why they have his statistics wrong like that. But Raydarius Jones, 4 tackles, 2 solo. He had a half tackle for loss. That was badass. That was sick. He got in on there. But, Mike Jones Jr., his first ever start, 5 tackles, 4 solo, 1 huge sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, forces an incompletion on a 3rd down, forces a punt, which we scored off of. 1 huge quarterback hit. Mike Jones Jr. was fantastic. Why did it take this long for us to see him? 8 tackles for loss from this defense, who were at one point leading the SEC in tackles for loss. Maybe we are again. Maybe 4 sacks total. one from a DB, one from a linebacker. I mean, two from linebackers, one from a D lineman, and another from a DB. That is LSU defense, baby. Strip sacking the quarterback from Alabama like that. They beat us in the passing game. That's where Alabama won this game. They beat us in the passing game. Just enough. They made just enough. They had 2 or 3 explosive plays throughout that first half total. Second half, maybe they had about 3 or 4. And that fourth one was the backbreaker for us. It's just our defense played their asses off. Played unbelievable. Right now, here I watched Ty just make a great run through the middle through traffic and then absolutely delete a guy for 9 yards, put us at third and short. I mean, damn. Never mind. Ty had 2 third down conversions. So Ty, just was able to produce on key downs like a badass. I love it. Some of these plays and just how dysfunctional they look. It's just sad. It's just sad that LSU's offense went from the heights of 2019 to the shit dumpster of 2021, where we have all these weapons, even with so many guys out and hurt, and we cannot take advantage of it. But, we had no right to be in this game. LSU should have lost this game before it started. I guess in a way we did by default. But there was no default from this defense, at least. This defense absolutely were monstrous. Alabama's defense were great against us as well. We rushed it on them. We couldn't pass it on them. They shut down our passing game. We rushed on them just enough. They passed it on us just enough. Couldn't rush against us. And it equalized just barely. And Alabama just barely pulled this thing out. Missed a PAT as well. Missed a field goal. Hit off the post as well. Maybe LSU should have taken that field goal to go down 20-17. And then, we're in the red zone again. Or sorry, yeah, we're not in the red zone again. We're at Hail Mary that thing. But maybe instead of having to Hail Mary that thing, we could have taken a shot that was over maybe 20 yards and getting it out of bounds and given Cade York a chance. With a leg like Cade York, maybe we only needed like 15 more yards. Let's see where we threw that pass from. Look that up. Where did we throw that pass from? Play by play. Let's see here. Okay, God. Stop doing that. We are at the Alabama 30. We lost this game throwing the pass at the Alabama 30. That kind of pisses me off now that I think about it. I know we wanted to play aggressive, blah, 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 blah. LSU, if we take that field goal and go down 20-17, we are at the Alabama 30 with a chance to throw like a 4 or 5 yard pass, 6 or 7 yard pass, maybe 10, 15 yards even, get quickly out of bounds. And then we're having Cade York kick a chip shot for Cade for his range. We're already in his range for at least a shot from the 30-yard line, and we're just about to get it closer to tie the game, to go into overtime against Alabama. Oh, my God. I forgot how close. I forgot that we were that close. Just because of all we've been talking about over the last hour and a half about this game, but that kind of sucks thinking about that we didn't trust in our defense to get us the ball back, because our defense did, and we could have we could have tied this thing and then taken overtime and won this game. We could have won it before regulation. We could have won it in overtime with field goals tying it, 17 and then 2017, then 2020. It's a tough one to take. It's a tough one to take. It would have been a great birthday present. I mean, I thought my birthday present was going to be all the amazing stuff Chelsea got me, the new War on Drugs record, this amazing card where she wrote some amazing, brilliant thoughts. She got me this amazing shirt. She got me these new crazy pants. She got me so many of these treats. She got me this crazy magazine. She got me all sorts of things that I'll be showing as well, but taking photos of. But she made it an amazing birthday weekend. All of you guys did too with your amazing birthday wishes. I cannot believe I am so lucky to have so many friends who are so nice and so cool and saying such nice things. I really appreciate you, and I'm blessed. I'm a blessed person. It would have been a crazy way to top it all. I thought my sports present for my birthday was going to be the announcement of Xavi Hernandez, the new Barcelona head coach. He's a Barcelona great midfielder, one of my favorite players ever, a player I tried to model my game after when I played soccer. He is finally coming back to coach Barcelona. So I thought, on my birthday, this is great. What a great gift. What a great day. This is getting even better. Finally, some great coaching at Barcelona. I thought, now, is this going to be another sports gift? The one to beat them all. We're going to take down Alabama too. We're going to take down Alabama too this weekend. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Was not to be. Like the 2011 game of the century, which was on my birthday, November 5th. Today was November 6th. Could not pull it off on the 6th of November in Tuscaloosa, but we came damn close. This LSU team were close, and we had no right to be in the game, and I am so proud of this team. I love the character of that locker room, despite their coach. In spite of this coach's bullshit, in spite of his negativity, in spite of all the guys leaving the team recently, announcing their transfers, all this bullshit, all this stuff going against LSU, all these recent recruiting wins, Emory Jones, Walker Howard, Bo Bordelon, Citizen, all these guys, reaffirming their commitment. Walker Howard canceling his Ole Miss visit, which LSUODYSSEY.com reported as well. Walker Howard back from injury, throwing a career high as well, coming into this class next year, coming into this team next year. The future looks bright for LSU, despite the negativity you hear, despite the negativity that is going around. Once we get this coach out of here, once we get the right guy in there, everything's going to be fine for LSU. You're going to see the real LSU. You're going to see the real LSU. And tonight, I got to say, on defense, you saw the real LSU. This was a throwback performance from LSU's defense. An ass-kicking, want to make history making, playmaking, uh, Bama taking performance. They wanted to make Saban cry. And Saban, despite winning, will be pissing himself all night. And Neil Farrell Jr., Damone Clark, Dwight McGlothern, um, Cam Lewis, a bunch of those guys are responsible. LSU should have won this game. And that's something that has got to make you feel good.